Hello, friends, and thank you as always for visiting the Legend Sports Universe YouTube channel, Legend Sports Universe, where legends play forever. So, I wanted to give a bit of an update as for channel plans for at least the near future. Um, and this has been coming for a bit. I've had an amazing experience doing the Legend Sports Universe for the past 3 years now. Coming up on 3 years, I guess it's at the end of this month. And I'm very appreciative of the support that the channel's gotten during that time. Come across a lot of great people who I never have had the chance to meet otherwise, and I'll always be really thankful. With that said, the channel is going to change a bit, at least for the near future, and I'll try not to ramble here, although that attempt will probably be unsuccessful. Uh, but there are two things: one personal, one tied to the channel itself, that are bringing this about. So we'll start with the channel itself. Um, I continue to love broadcasting games. Again, I originally went to school to do sports broadcasting. I ended up going the print route instead. So this kind of filled an old void for me when I got this going. Um, and so I still love doing the broadcast, and I still tremendously enjoy building projects as I have for 20 plus years now. I enjoy putting the work in. I enjoy bringing this world to life. And also struggling to find the proper balance between doing what I want to do with these projects and doing what I can do with these projects. What do I mean by that? I love all sports. I love the history of sports, the stories, the legends. And if I could make six figures doing this instead of my real job, I'd do it in a heartbeat. I love fleshing out stories and taking time, getting through seasons, doing multiple games per quote unquote game week to get people and myself, honestly, deeper in the flow of all that's going on in my league. The time is short. And while my ideal version of the LSU allows for me to smell the roses of each project and do them all, the reality is I'm pushing off or avoiding projects I want to do while taking the slow walk through the seasons. I build all these leagues of mine, as I've said previously, and as I think is kind of what the draw is to for a lot of people to what I do. Um, I build all these leagues as franchise star setups, but with a twist. The twist being that not all of the greats start at once, but these projects are built as career mode, franchise mode, a long term setup with the stars gradually entering over time. To be honest, the better name for the league would probably be the Relevant Players League as opposed to the Franchise Stars League. This doesn't quite have the same ring to it. But I do a deep dive than a deeper dive than what most franchise stars kind of projects do, and that's by design. Um, and I love that setup. But at the pace I go, I am never going to get down the roads for each sport far enough for that premise to matter. Um, Year 5 of the Franchise Stars Baseball League, for example, is on the horizon. And I just started entering the draftees for year 5 into the game, and that's a couple of months after last season ended. So that's 2 months of dead time on that project. The time I've been spending creating weekly highlight videos for the Franchise Stars Football League, that comes in at around 10 to 15 hours of work a week between trimming clips for the right highlights and recording the audio and all that. And that's time that takes away from adding players for year 5 of the Franchise Stars Baseball League. And I really enjoy making the highlight videos, and I wasn't sure that I would, but I am. But is it the best use of my time for what I want to do with my hobby? I still really want to get the Franchise Stars Hockey League. And it took the Franchise Stars Basketball Association playoffs to remind me why I was into getting that project going. So moving all those projects along for the career mode, franchise mode, etc. setup is never going to happen if I continue to structure this the way I am. Time simply doesn't allow. So other projects are suffering or lagging, to be less dramatic, um, as a result of that. There's a phrase that I'm fond of: "Is the juice worth the squeeze?" I've started to consider that more and more regarding how the LSU is being carried out right now. And then there's a personal note about this also. Um, about 3 months ago, I had an unexpected, we'll call it a cardiac event. Um, it wasn't a heart attack. I have one of those kiosks you'll find like in drugstores and stuff like that, blood pressure cuffs in my office. Um, and on a whim one night, I slipped my arm in the thing to get a reading. Um, and I was at 170 over 95, 168 over 95. And I thought it was a joke. I'm like, "Ah, this thing has to be busted." Waited a few minutes, tested it again, got essentially the same result. And I never get sick. I work out several times a week. Um, and so I felt fine. It was literally just something I did. Oh, it was there, and I haven't checked my blood pressure in a while. Um, and I was going to not say anything about it, but my wife is a nurse. My son, my oldest son, is in med school. And so when I got home that night, I mentioned it to my wife, and we have a blood pressure cuff in the house. And she checked me, and I was at 220 over 115, which is heart attack territory. Um, so off to the hospital I went. They checked me there. It was more in line with what the cuff was at work. Um, so that was kind of attributable to the cuff at home probably being a bit small because it was older. And but even so, I was still at a higher blood pressure than what I should be. Um, this is something that was never even on my radar. But my mom had heart issues. She suffered a stroke. My grandma suffered a stroke. They're both at ages considerably older than I am now. Um, and again, I work out regularly. I don't get sick. Um, so this was never on my radar, but family history, perhaps it should have been at least a little bit more. Um, I don't do fake drama. So to be clear, I'm fine now. There's no imminent danger or anything. My tests are normal. I just had my 3-month follow up cardiologist who I saw after that event happened. I had an EKG done, had blood work done. Everything you know, looks good. The EKG was perfect. The one med they placed me on 3 months ago has worked perfectly. My blood pressure is back down into normal range regularly, and the cardiologist didn't see any need to adjust anything, or med wise, and I don't have to go back to him now for 6 months. So, but while I'm not obese by any stretch, I'm not sitting here popping ice cream and ho hos and stuff like that. I don't do anything diet wise that could be termed excess. We could also do a bit better. Um, and it will also so it'll be better for my overall health to try and drop maybe 20 pounds or so. My cholesterol is at the high end of normal. Again, something that has a genetic component for me. So it's okay. It could be better. Um, I sit at work all night in front of a computer. Um, and that means that spending time sitting working on projects or broadcasting games at home is time I really could spend better for the sake of my health, my weight, blood circulation, for a bunch of reasons. Um, if not my enjoyment. So, what does this all mean for the channel? Um, Game Sports Universe is not going away. I will be proceeding differently and with less structure to it from a broadcast standpoint. Basically, I'm just going to stream or upload games when I have the urge. I'm not going to worry about have to do an AL and NL game the week each week of the game calendar, or I have to do 3 FSFL games each week on the schedule. Um, I'm simply going to broadcast games that interest me during the season. The highlight videos for football will end just because of the time they take. And again, that time can be better used elsewhere, both personally, health wise, exercise wise, time wise, movement, well, etc. Um, in addition to being better able to allocate that time for getting other projects where I want them to be. Um, I'll stream live sometimes, but I'll do a lot of premieres, which has been something that's happened a bit anyway over time. And that's not just for time considerations, but also because it will let me tack on things like standings and leaderboards, uploads to, fill in the gaps and try to keep people up to speed with the leagues as a whole a bit. Um, Now that I'm not going to do as much detail each week of the schedule as I have been. I may get back to writing a bit more as well. So we'll see how that all plays out. And again, this all may change somewhere down the line. For now, this seems to be the best approach for me on multiple fronts, both personally and for my enjoyment of hobby and and what I do with my downtime. Um, One thing I do want to try and keep in place, I do want to continue to stream all playoff games, and as I get the boxing thing going, again, I miss that. Um, Title fights and stuff like that. At least that's the goal. And if all projects get rolling and moving along, that should still yield a pretty steady diet of streams once they all dovetail together anyway. Um, Again, this announcement, this isn't a sad announcement. It's not a negative one. So I hope nobody sees it that way. This isn't, oh, I'm packing my bag and going home and then hoping that people kind of tell me, no, don't go. I don't do that kind of. This is just out of necessity for multiple reasons. Um, at the moment, what I feel like I need to do with the channel. So, once again, I thank everyone who has given the London Sports Universe a moment or more of your time. Um, Again, I'm just kind of doing what's best for me and my enjoyment of the hobby and other stuff um, at this point in time. So, understand my gratitude for now all of you for any of the time you have given me over time. Um, has always been there, will always be there, and I hope that I will still see you around here as I do things here on the channel. All right. So I've rambled enough. Wrap that up. But again, thanks for listening and thanks for tuning in. Thanks for subscribing, liking, etc., etc., etc. Be good to each other, guys, and we'll talk soon.